Joining me now is Republican Congressman Matt Gaetz, who represents the state of Florida. And Congressman Gaetz is a member of the House Judiciary Committee as well. Happy Easter weekend to you. And I want to start with we've heard from the president, because he released, when William Barr released his 4-page summary, and since then he's often said it exonerates him. He said no collusion countless times. Then today he tweeted and called it a crazy report with fabricated and totally untrue statements, BS. He put it a little more colorfully than that. So which is it? Is this a report that we should believe exonerates him, or is it totally unreliable?
I think that you can look at the collusion facts differently than you can look at sort of the law review article that Mueller writes on obstruction of justice. When it comes to the lack of any factual development on criminal conspiracy with Russia, I think we can all see that there is no evidence. And
don't we want a legal basis? I'm not sure. I mean, you make a law review article sound disparaging, but that was the point he was appointed, right, to get to the bottom of the law.
Yeah, well, no, I'm cleaving out the difference between Volume 1 and Volume 2 of the report. I'm not casting a pejorative. I'm just describing it. Volume 1 is more based on evidence. Volume 2 is based on more conjecture. Just one indicator of that is that you've got twice as many media references in Volume 2 that you have in Volume 1. Volume 1 is more based on actual evidence collection. The other seems to be more based on watching television and reading mainstream media print publications. But nonetheless...
So you like the one that's more favorable to him, and you dislike the one that raises more serious questions?
Well, no, I just think they come from very different places, and there's a different methodology that's used in the factual development of the lack of any collusion evidence, and then this like parade of potential obstruction charges. But even in those 11 circumstances that Eric Swalwell just cited on your show, even Mueller concedes that in several of those there's either not requisite intent, there's not a nexus to an official proceeding, there's not an obstructive act. So in all those circumstances, even Mueller doesn't find that all the elements for obstruction are met. But I mean, look, the president was pissed. He thought there was an illegitimate investigation that was launched against him. He is the head of the executive branch. He thought the executive branch was doing things to hurt the country, and so he's trying to do everything legal, proper, and appropriate to conclude the investigation and get on to leading the free world.
You don't think it's inappropriate that investigations that's looking at your campaign, looking at your White House, and potentially looking at you, that you do something because you don't like it? And I don't know any president who's been happy with his coverage or happy with the way he's been treated by the other side. Never in the history of this country. And for the Attorney General to come out and say he was frustrated and he was mad or angry, whatever the words were that the Attorney General said, is that appropriate?
Yeah, because there are higher equities at play.
If you're frustrated by the way you're being treated, you get to try to stop it?
Chris, let me explain why. During the period of time where this is unfolding, the president is trying to leverage China and Russia against North Korea. When he takes office, Obama tells him that North Korea is the biggest problem the world has. And so the president has limited tools to engage in that really important three-dimensional chess because of an investigation that he knows is false because he knows he didn't collude with Russia. If he wanted to, he could have fired Mueller based on the way that Mueller comprised his team, based on the criticisms from President Obama's own Inspector General of how Mueller compromised his team. I think the president should have fired Robert Mueller, but he didn't, and he didn't obstruct justice. And again, like, there are reasons why Mueller didn't bring obstruction.
He tried to do it. He talked to people about doing it. And in fact, this report concludes, I'm going to read, the president's effort to influence the investigation were mostly unsuccessful, but that is largely because the persons who surrounded the president declined to carry out orders or accede to his requests.
But if you skip to the bottom of the page, you see the 3 reasons why none of that manifested in criminal charges. 1, he has legitimate exercise of Article 2 powers that would be difficult to cleave from any obstructive act. 2, he did all of this in public, and like, people don't obstruct justice in public any more than they rob banks via FaceTime.
You don't obstruct justice
and then the 3rd reason
if you put something out there that
activity.
Intimidates a witness.
Look, this is in public. Those 3 factors, Mueller said any one of those factors would not have been a reason in and of itself to come to the lack of a conclusion that he came to. But when you combine the fact that he's got legitimate powers, he acted in public, and there was no underlying crime, if you have those 3 defenses, there is no mechanism by which to bring any sort of criminal charge against the president or to impeach him for high crimes and misdemeanors. What's the crime? What's the misdemeanor?
Let me read for you, or let me play for you something that back in 1999, someone from your party, Senator Lindsey Graham, said that there has to be a stricter standard for obstruction. And I want to play to you what he said about Clinton impeachment.
He doesn't have to say go lie for me to be a crime. You don't have to say let's obstruct justice for it to be a crime. You judge people on their conduct, not magic phrases.
Have Republicans lowered the threshold? If this report came out on President Obama, do you mean to tell me you would be sitting there and defending him?
If it was a report on President Obama, there would be infinite assertions of executive privilege. Here you had unprecedented transparency from the Trump White House that you never saw from the Obama White House.
He said repeatedly over the course of 2 years he wanted to answer questions under oath. He didn't.
He did answer questions under oath. Those are the interrogatories that he responded.
Written answers that he could talk about with his lawyers. And if you actually read them, as I'm sure you have, Congressman, so much of them say, I don't remember, I don't remember, I don't remember.
It was 2 years ago. I don't remember what I had for lunch last week, and you're asking the president about conversations in the middle of a presidential campaign of stuff that was going on so long ago. Of course there are specifics that he doesn't remember, but you should not say on this air that he did not answer questions under oath. He, in fact, did so through those interrogatories, which, again, he had no obligation to do. The reason I think I've never seen in 10 years of practice of law a party turn over their own lawyers' private notes in discussions to the other party. That happened here because I think the president wanted to lay bare before the country what had happened, good, bad, or otherwise, because while people may be critical of the president's tactics and his strategy and his involvement in his own communications, he certainly did not collude with the Russian Federation, and that is a lie that the American people will not forgive the Democrats for telling in the 2020 election.
We're out of time. I just want to clarify, because I do want to make sure that we are accurate. The president was asked repeatedly by the press, and he said repeatedly he would be willing to go to Robert Mueller and be interviewed.
Thank God his lawyers didn't let him.
He did not do that.
Thank God.
He answered. Well,
because look, that would have been a
one of
perjury
his lawyers,
trap.
in fact, said the best thing that they ever accomplished was the fact that he did not answer questions live under oath. So let people read into that what they will. Congressman Matt Gaetz, you're always a good sport to come on to MSNBC. We appreciate it, and I do wish you and your family a happy Easter.
Happy Easter to you, Chris.